I hope this chapter isn't too plain after the last one, but we are moving on to Orlis, which is pretty much the only country fighting against Dolar at the moment. Their leaders are Hardin, who is the younger brother of the king here, and Nina, who was the princess of Arcania, but they were kinda easily defeated during the war, so she had to flee here. Of course, we don't really know what happened to Camus, who was protecting her up until the point where she was protected by Hardin. We do know he was tortured pretty badly, but we're not even sure if he's alive at the moment. But that's not going to be important, because, of course, the moment we set foot in the country, we get attacked. This really shouldn't be surprising at all. Well, yeah, of course they will. We already know they did. Were you not reading the intro? Come on, Malladus, keep up. And finally, 8 chapters into the game, at last, we are able to use the preparations screen. This has taken far too long. We really should have gotten this at like chapters 1 or 2, but no, chapter 4. Well, at least we have it now. So, on the preparation screen, you can choose what characters you want to use. I'm actually not using all of my slots for characters, because these are pretty much the only characters I want to use, and I'm really going to be using permanently. You can change their place on the map, and on the map you can also look at the enemies ahead of time, you can see the boss, and you can also see any possible characters you might want to recruit, such as Mathis there. I've already got everybody chosen in position, so I'm not going to waste your time by doing that on screen. I've gotten all that done ahead of time. I also have all of the items organized, finally, because I really don't want to do that like in the middle of the battle, but on the preparation screen I got plenty of time to organize my equipment, which is very helpful. You can also change classes, which I'll get more into that in the chapter itself, but it's not really a thing I use, ever. We also have the Armory, which only sells you basic iron weapons, of course. That serves my needs greatly, because this is all I ever really need on a regular basis, so yeah, I just need the basic weapons, and we got them now. There is actually one more function of the preparation screen. This is my alternate file where everyone's dying a horrible, horrible death. But if you have fewer than the minimum, or maximum really, number of units you can take into a chapter, you'll actually get spare units or reserve units. Yeah, I'll gladly have them fight, except I'm going to have to kill them as well, because otherwise I can't get those Gaiden chapters. These are all generic units, meaning they don't have any faces or personality, and they also use the generic class growth rates, which really aren't that good. They're pretty much just here if you really, really screw up, and I mean, like, it's gotta be a huge fuck-up to have that few units. He said lickspittles. I don't even know what that means. Or I could not attack you with the cavalry. Whatever. Anyway, starting this chapter off, I'm not going to make the same mistake I made in the last chapter. I'm only going to send Augment to take care of those units up there. Sada's also going to go north. However, that's so she can kill those thieves on the other side of the lake, because they're going to be troublesome, and I really don't want them screwing with me in all honesty. Because this chapter can actually be a bit difficult. We do have a few trees here and there, but for the most part, it's just open plains, meaning we don't really have a lot of defense, and since there's so much open space, that means the enemies can also maneuver around us very easily. Not only that, but most of the enemies are cavaliers, and those cavaliers, of course, are very aggressive. I believe just starting right off the bat next turn, they're going to be attacking us. So we're going to want to be very careful of that. We can't really set up a defensive wall or anything. I mean, we can make a small one, and if you can, at least try to make it around Lena, because you do have to take Lena in to actually recruit that character up to the north. Mathis, I don't know if he'll try to attack Lena. He will try to attack anyone else, though. I know for a fact he will try to kill anyone he comes across, but I'm fairly certain he's also an idiot and tries to attack Lena. Which is dumb, because Lena's kind of his sister. So you'd think he wouldn't attack her no matter what, but I'm kind of unsure. And here they come. Of course, just like in Chapter 1, it's not just Mathis that's a problem, it's also the units around Mathis, since they're just going to be a pain in the ass. They're aggressive, and they, of course, won't join with Mathis. They don't care about his dumb ass. They're just going to keep attacking us anyway. Your axe users will definitely be useful in this chapter. So if you're fine using 3 of them, well, this is pretty much the chapter where that'll come in useful. Of course, I wouldn't really say water walking is exactly a skill that's that useful either, so, Daros, not exactly helpful here at all. To be fair, I think I could say that for pretty much any chapter. Yeah, Daros isn't useful here either, what a fucking surprise. We also want to make it to that village, but I don't think we'll be able to do so before the Cavaliers approach us. Plus, to be completely fair, I don't exactly want to, cause the unit there is decent, but I don't think he could stand up to strong attacks from a Cavalier. I mean, you never know, but personally I'd rather not take a chance. Well, while we wait for those guys to approach us, I suppose I'll go over the class change system in this game. Now, class changing, I think is more or less new to this game, because I can't recall any other game in the series where that was really a thing. So, Shadow Dragon 12 and Awakening are all the games that use that. The problem is, in both Shadow Dragon and Fire Emblem 12, they're not exactly useful at all. I mean, if you've played Fire Emblem Awakening, it's really good in Awakening because there are skills you get with each character at certain levels, like 2 for each class including the promotions. Here, it's really just so a character can, maybe fill a class that you have missing. Yet another method to sort of replace dead characters other than the reserve units. I mean, I guess it's slightly more useful, maybe? Because I don't really use the function all that much, I'm not exactly sure of everybody's stat changes once they do that. Don't worry, though, stats do change around, well, growth rates change around, that's the main important thing whenever you change classes. Because if they didn't change around, that would be stupid, because like all the physical units couldn't be mages because they have 0% magic growth rates in the first place. Now, I hear a few characters who maybe aren't the best in their own roles might at least be decent as other classes, and I suppose it's decent for that. I mean, here it would be useful because Mathis is yet another Cavalier. Yeah, another one, because we don't already have 1,000 of them. I don't think I would, actually. But then again, I'm not exactly there, am I? Well, that's pretty specific denial, but I'm sure it's meaningless. Yeah, wouldn't want to cross any thieves now, would ya? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Alright, well, Mathis is in the group. And honestly, Mathis really isn't all that interesting. He's got a good HP growth and some decent strength growths, but honestly, other than that, there's really nothing all that good about him, and given we've already gotten plenty of Cavaliers who are far better than him, there's really no reason to use Mathis. So yeah, he's not exactly the best Cavalier, and since we already have plenty of Cavaliers that are good, I don't know why you would ever use him. I mean, part of it is I just don't really like him personality-wise, but he's also not that useful. I mean, pretty much every other Cavalier we have is useful, so yeah, wouldn't bother using him. Of course, we're probably going to need him if we want to make it through here. Unfortunately, Caster's still too slow to get doubles, which is very troublesome because I kinda need this guy dead and I need him dead now. This is a very bad position because Lena's kinda gonna have to be out in the open. I can't really see a way to... oh wait, never mind. I can't see a way to get her to not be hit by an enemy. Oh wait. Of course, killing these guys is probably gonna open her up again. I mean, I'd maybe say, don't actually kill any of these enemies, but I don't know if I'd survive if I had 3 Cavaliers attacking me. Best take my chances by killing these guys. Lena can survive a hit or 2 anyway, so if push comes to shove, she can take a shot, and oh, that guy's got an Armor Slayer. Armor Slayer, as the name implies, and as I believe I've mentioned before, it damages heavily armored units, mainly knights. I don't think there are any units in this game other than knights that really have heavy armor. In later games, there are great knights. They're sort of a combination of cavaliers and armored units. Here, though, those don't exist, and I can't think of anything else other than knights and generals that would be weak to that sort of thing. And we can just barely beat these guys. And I can even have the conversation between... oh, nice job, Julian. I can even have the conversation between Martha and Mathis over there. I almost forgot Mathis's name already. You're dead to me that soon. That's just how much I don't like you at all. No, you idiot. I mean, I'm never going to put you on my team ever, but I won't outright kill you. Well, in this file. You'll die in the alternate dimension file where the screams of all those I've murdered never stop. They never cease. No, they don't. I still hear them now. I can't ignore them. They never stop. Anyway, yeah, but where was I with that? Oh yeah, he's gonna die too. But there it's not exactly personal. I just already used Frey, and I don't need another Cavalier, and I don't like you at all, so I'm not too disappointed when you die horribly. Might even kill you myself. I forget what I did on that file. Alright, well, it's pretty much a straight shot from here to the end of the chapter. Well, that part can be a little bit tricky, but it's one of those chapters where once you're past the hard part, it's pretty much just a straight shot from there to the goal. I mean, I guess that guy's bragging about his, what's it called? Rider's Bane? Yeah, it's called the Rider's Bane in this game. So, as I said before, the solution to not getting your ass kicked by a Rider's Bane is don't use Cavaliers. It's that simple. Of course, you can use Pegasus Knights because although they do ride, they don't ride on horses. They ride on sky horses, but apparently it's different. I don't know how. The wings make it so that it's not weak to Rider's Bane, but is weak to arrows. Wait, no, now suddenly I'm Mathis, oh no! And now everybody's Mathis, oh god, it's my nightmare! We've seen plenty of mages so far, however Merric is our first playable mage, and overall he's actually a pretty good unit with some very good stat growths. You might notice, however, that his magic growth rate is a bit low. However, keep in mind that because everyone has such a low resistance in this game, even having a fairly low magic stat still means you're going to be doing a fair amount of damage. Of course, some of his damage also comes from the fact that he starts with the powerful magic Excalibur. Now, later mages do have higher magic, so He's not really the best in the game, but for the time being, he's still a pretty solid character. So yes, Marth and Merric are buddies. I don't really think there's too much to it other than that. Some characters do have a lot of backstory, like Ogma actually has a fair amount of backstory. Mathis, though, I think he just visits Altia fairly often, so he knows Marth and his sister quite well, and now he's helping us here. He's our mage. I've gone over mages, so I don't need to go over it yet again. He is fairly useful, and he's going to be our only mage for a while. He is very useful for armored units, and really every unit that's not a mage, now that I think about it. Nothing has resistance in this game. Of course, there is actually a mage I like better later on in the game, and that is actually because she is in Fire Emblem 12, and she's actually the first mage you get in that game. So that's kind of why I like her, because I actually beat 12 before I beat this game. So when I got her in this game, I'm like, oh, fuck that shit, screw Merric, I'm using her. Because she's a damn good mage in the second game, and in this game too. But of course, due to low growth rates, I mean, no unit is ever really that amazing on paper. And yet they always turn out fairly well, at least. In my experience, at least. Like Ogma. As I said before, dude doesn't have the best defense, but he usually still has pretty good defense anyway, despite his low growth. Also, I didn't even think of that. Good thing I didn't place Seda too close, or that would have gone horribly wrong. Oh wow. Good going, Marth. Thank you so much for only getting a point of strength, I really appreciate that. Well, this is probably a bad idea. This is probably a very bad idea, actually. Oh dear, this is a very bad idea. Oh, and did I mention that Merric starts with a very powerful spell Excalibur? I hope I did, because that does actually help. But it's not gonna help here. Oh, this is looking very, very bad. Damn their high speed. That's why these guys are always a pain to fight, the horsemen. Because they do have some pretty good speed. Like, better speed than most cavaliers, actually. But hey, that's done and over with all of a sudden. Well, I guess all that I need to do is get Marth to that village and then face that challenging Rider's Bane. I don't know how I'm going to take care of that. It's a pretty big obstacle right there, I gotta say. What will I ever do to pass that obstacle? What could I possibly do? Also, you don't really need to kill the clerics. They won't actually do anything to you. I mean, I guess it's easy experience, but it's not that much experience. And now I kinda just feel like a jerk, to be completely honest. That person was probably fairly innocent. Didn't do nothing to nobody, didn't even heal the enemy just yet. Alright, well, other than that, pretty much just go at this guy as you normally would. Axe users help, of course, because he is using a lance. As I said before, the Rider's Bane doesn't affect Pegasus Knights, so Seda's perfect for that. If you really need a bit of extra oh, 5,000 gold, neat. But anyway, as I was saying, if she's not doing too much damage, then the Wing Spear should solve that issue. And after that, if he's still alive, then attacking him with other characters will be tricky, but it's really not too bad. Just make sure not to attack him with a Cavalier, and you're A-okay. I keep saying that, but I don't know, it's just... He rubs me the wrong way, you know. He starts the chapter by going, oh, I'm so clever, I've got this Rider's Bane. Now, I'm just gonna stick here and not actually use it? I mean, if he was a boss that could move around, he'd be really tough. Because it would be hard to avoid the dude. He'd just be going around, stabbing your Cavaliers. You'd basically have to not bring Cavaliers to this battle, and that wouldn't exactly be the best, because Cavaliers really help in this wide open space. They kind of excel here. But no, he just chooses to stay on that one space. I guess I shouldn't really be complaining about his life decisions. Ooh, should be complaining about my low hit rate, though. Right, right, you say that, but, I hit you at 59%. That's kinda sad. Oh wow, no wonder I have such a low hit rate. 4 skill, that is really bad. I could almost kill him with Merric, but I'm not going to be using Merric permanently, so I don't know if that's really what I want to do. Would be better to give someone like Navarre. Oh wow, he's got some surprisingly high defense as well. If Ogma's not doing much damage, then you know somebody has high defense. And, actually... fuck, I should have seen that one coming. Well, I suppose the killing edge will do the job, so, you know what, might as well. Navarre definitely needs some experience. I am going to be using him permanently, which should be obvious by this point. I've benched everyone I'm not going to be using permanently. Please work, thank you for working. And those are his last words. Somehow I didn't see that one coming. And we get his Rider's Bane. Well, I'm sure I'll put it to better use than he ever did. When I use it like twice because I kinda like keeping those things for a rainy day. And of course, rainy days rarely happen. That's kinda what happens when you stockpile things. Oh, I'll use it later. And then you get to the end game and you've never once even touched it. Ah well, I'll get by fine with or without it. It's just nice to have it, really.
The South Castle is actually our retirement home, but thank you nonetheless.